You can begin to shift a little from right to left and side to side, and just make sure that you have a seat or a position that you feel is maintainable for a couple of minutes. We'll start with an awareness practice. And rest your hands in relative neutral, anywhere that doesn't draw too much unnecessary attention to them. And either close the eyes or gaze down at one spot on the earth in front of you. I offer that we chant Om 3 rounds to acknowledge the interconnection between all things. If for any reason Oming or chanting isn't for you, please feel free to sit with us in presence instead. Otherwise, take an exhale, get empty, let all the air fall out of your body. Then take a big free inhale in through your nose. Open mouth, exhale, HA. Inhale, prepare for Om. Take a long inhale in through your nose and a slow exhale out through your nose. And we'll begin the practice with conscious breathing. So maybe with eyes closed or gaze downcast, begin to draw your awareness towards the experience of your natural and organic breath. And first and foremost, the tricky part of this is to not organize your breath, to not become involved in managing it or making it any certain way. See if you can let the breath be as it is and simply watch it. You might pay attention to its physical affect if it enters through the nose or the mouth, as it swirls through the sinuses and the throat, as it fills into the lungs and affects the diaphragm dropping, the belly and the back. You might feel the same reverse pattern of the exhale, the air falling back up and out a little warmer and more wet. As you follow this process of up and down, maybe it's more obvious just to pay attention where the chest is, or in the side ribs, or in the belly. You might seed your breath with bija, with intention, a little bit like mantra in the eye of your mind as you breathe in. Simplest form is to think, now I'm breathing in. As you breathe out, now I'm breathing out, or simply in and out. And the repetition of this at first might seem simple, methodical, boring. Really, that is the thing, the persistence to repeat again and again. If you'd like to be a little more classical about it, you might chant the mantra of the throat affiliated with its connection to the heart. So hum, I am that. And as you do, the other challenge is to stay relaxed in the body, to stay relaxed in the face and the jaw, to let the tongue hang and the shoulders soften, without losing enough structure to remain in an open stance in the breathing apparatus, whether that be on the back or on the side or in a seat. Make sure that the rib cage has room to expand and deflate without any unneeded work. And as you continue to pay attention to your breath in this way, perhaps you can also notice how silent it can be, how smooth and clear, how easy and small, without trying to control it or fight it or force it. Continue this practice of awareness of your breath until I ask you to change or ask you to stop. As you do this work, I want to remind you, and remind myself, I suppose, that relaxation is in fact a practice. Figuring out how to be aware, cogent, functional, and fully relaxed is a skill of balancing. If you're truly, totally relaxed, well, that's kind of being asleep, right? You're totally alert and aware. Right? That's on the other side of things. That's bringing us towards the solar, the active, the young. As we study this more lunar practice, this quality of paying attention, it's not that isn't anything, right? It's not the void, it's not the space. It's actually something, right? It's a current of something, but it's reflective. And in that way, it can fill up corners that other energy can't. It can open doors with its soft voice in a different way. But it often comes with resistance and frustration. It often comes with being asked to feel things that we might have been putting into the back of the drawer for a while. And remember that the work of pranayama is a work of power. It means you're turning towards action, you're turning towards experience with a little bit of belief that you can choose to be as involved or uninvolved as necessary, as opposed to being drawn in without control. It's a practice, just like anything else. We build our accomplishments within it over time. Continue to notice any tension patterns that creep into your body or your thought patterns. And if you notice them and can, see if you can let them go whenever possible. Now, little by slowly, as you continue to be aware of your breath, as you continue to draw your focus back again and again to the mantra of your breath or to the experience of your felt breath in and out, so and hum. We'll slowly start to emphasize the exhales to change this breath over 10 or 15 rounds from conscious breath towards a conscious form of psychic breath or upward liberating breath, the Ujjayi Pranayama. That's snoring and sighing. If you begin to focus on the exhales first, lengthening them out, the deeper and broader inhales will follow. This breath isn't really created in the throat, it's created in the diaphragm and in the torso as you let the belly open and drop. And you draw it in and back as you let the floor of the pelvis hang and lift it up. But it will feel like that push and pull in your throat is creating a wind tunnel, an oceanic like sound. Continue to stay relaxed in the body as much as you can. Soften the face. Continue to pay attention and breathe in the Ujjayi form until I ask you to change or ask you to stop. Let your transition come over time. Make sure you're not working too hard to create the sound or the pattern. And instead, think of the breath as the intention, right? Upward liberating, victorious breath, right? Let it be the most peaceful victory possible, right? Victory with all survivors, perhaps not even a fight at all, but just a success, right? A successful union of two oppositional forces, your mind and your body. And as you continue to breathe in this full, deep way, in the Ujjayi form, I'm going to ask you to start to take on some organization of your breath, still keeping as gentle an affect as possible. So only use as much effort to create conscious shift of breathing as you need to. You're going to start to think of your breath in the form of sama vritti. Sama meaning same, vritti fluctuation or wave pattern. Try to make your inhales the same length as your exhales and vice versa. And the option is usually given to try to rise towards what is dominant when you do this practice. So if the exhale feels longer, try to make the inhale last that long by slowing it down. But you might go the other way if it feels like fighting or forcing. Take things down to a shorter point of view, as long as you don't feel like you're speeding up or hyperventilating. As you do this practice of samavritti, and try to make the inhales sound like the exhales as well, and put an equal emphasis and quality on the two, right? As if they were two children that you wanted to treat equally to balance them out, even though they are not the same, right? They balance one another, but are not necessarily made of the same magic. Continue your practice of inhaling and exhaling in the Ujjayi form, organizing towards Samavritti, the same fluctuating of your breath until I ask you to change or ask you to stop. As you continue to breathe in this form of Samavritti, I ask that you start to consider the secret hidden doorways of inhale and exhale, which is the hold at full, the tiny lilt of transition where you are no longer inhaling, but you are not yet exhaling. And same at the bottom, where you are no longer exhaling, but you have not yet begun to inhale. You might think of these like foyers or hallways, things you pass through to get to the room of the inhale or exhale in the awareness of your mind. We call them kumbhakas or containers. Kumbha means pot or jar. And so you are holding content of empty or content of full. And they have different names. Antara kumbhaka holding it full, Bahya kumbhaka holding it empty. That you don't need to hold or exaggerate or make this action extreme. It's not about clamping down. As you continue to breathe in the Ujjayi form and Samavritti organization, you might just start to notice your inhales and the hold at full. Notice the exhale and the hold at bottom. Notice kumbhaka. Notice what it feels like to float or lilt there and what comes of that action. And as you breathe in and out in this way, let yourself experience whatever you are experiencing. The idea is really just to keep letting yourself process. And you don't need to feel trapped, as it were, in those rooms between. They're just transitions. You might get relaxed in the waiting room, honestly. You might be able to stay there. It might even be a nice solitary situation to float for a while. And then that way you might start to build up a little bit of resistance in your breath, a little bit of control in that way through the muscular affect. Continue to stay gentle and kind, and whatever feels like a fight or a force, back off. A fight you fight with yourself is one you always lose, no matter which way it goes, right? So remember to give yourself the space to practice as opposed to produce. And continue this process You might begin to hold space, let yourself stay at full or stay at empty via relaxation and ease because it feels good to float there. And we'll do this for a few more minutes. Continue to breathe in this way until I ask you to change or ask you to stop. And as you continue this process, if you'd like to apply a gentle toning of Uddiyana Bandha and Mula Bandha during your kumbhakas, especially at empty, they might feel obvious, drawing your navel a little back and the floor of your pelvis up. Please feel free to do so. Sometimes you sort of feel like you're popping open a seal and you have to let it go, and that's okay. But even then, you might just exhale a little more before inhaling again, and that'll loosen the seal. These are practices that don't need to be done in the extreme. Drawing the floor of your pelvis up, drawing your navel back is really just a little bit of keeping lift of that sort of basement of this breathing apparatus you're working with. A little bit like closing off the bottom of your flute so that you can send the pitch higher to the opposite and continue the practice a few more moments. Wherever you are in the process of your breath, take an exhale to get empty. Take a long, slow inhale in through your nose like Ujjayi Pranayama. And open your mouth to exhale, HA. Inhale in again through your nose. Open mouth, exhale, HA. Ujjayi in through your nose, snoring. Ujjayi out through your nose, sighing. We're going to do some simple moving of the spine. So if you'd like, you might shift your legs if they've been in one position for a while, roll them out a little bit, or just move them to a different position or an alternative placement so you have enough space to find. And then we're going to take the arms out and up a little bit. So notice what's around you so you don't knock anything down, as it were. And take your arms and inhale them out and up. Ujjayi form, reach up. And on your exhale, twist to your right. We're going to start this as a little Kriya with breath. Inhale back up through center. And exhale, twist to the left. And just going back and forth, just finding an easy range of motion in your body, so it doesn't need to be super far. You're welcome to speed it up if you know you need to pump a little energy into things. You're also welcome to practice a little kumbhaka, a little holding it full, or at empty. But continue this action. We'll move through for a few minutes, actually, in fact. Just continuing to repeat. Things get tired in your arms, I suggest letting yourself bend your elbows on the way through. It gets a little bit more flouncy, but it'll be a little bit easier in your neck and shoulders. Try not to lead with your neck. Turn your heart to face where you're going instead. Good, last 10. 8. 6. 4. 3. 2. 1. The next inhale, come to center and hold your inhale in. You can take arms wide or bring arms all the way up. Draw your navel back, lift the floor of your pelvis up, and tuck your chin a little bit. Exhale, twist to the right. And hold it empty at the bottom of your exhale. Inhale to center. Exhale, twist the other way. And hold at empty on the other side. Good. Inhale up through center. Exhale, bend your elbows and lift your chest up. You're welcome to keep your chin level or to involve your head and neck, but we're going to take this Kriya with breath. So inhale, arms up, and exhale to pull them down. Again, for a couple of minutes, inhaling and exhaling. It doesn't need to be fast. It doesn't need to be super deep. The idea is just to coordinate some movement with breath. Working mostly into the compassion centers of the heart. Well, these places also process fear and anxiety. So if anything comes up that draws you down hallways you don't want to go down, feel free to rest instead or to change them as you need to. Might get tired in your arms, your biceps, your shoulders. As long as you don't feel pain, that's pretty normal. Last 15 or so. Last 10. 8. 6. 4. 3. 2. 1. Let your arms come all the way down. If you'd like, you can take a moment to either drop your chin, rolling your shoulders down your back, or to actually use your throat muscles to tuck your chin. Gaze down the line of your nose. Keep lifting your breastbone, your sternum up towards your chin in this action. If you'd like, as your chin comes level, you can take a few circles through your rib cage and your shoulders. If it feels like anything got stuck or really tight that needs a little bit of address or movement, let yourself move around a little bit as needed. Always a good idea to move. Okay. We're going to work into our next lunar breath, the Chandra Vedanta breathing. Chandra Vedanta means lunar or lunar energy or lunar deity, depending on your particular flavor. And Vedanta means to pierce or to run through. And so a lot of these older tantric practices where we clean out the cavities of the body, the shat karmas and things like that, this is sort of the cleaning of the pipes of your lunar energy. And some gurus, some teachers translate this as using your lunar energy to clean out your solar energy. So it's like investigate your solar baggage with your lunar intelligence, as it were. And also when the full moon comes around, we just have a lot of brightness on our lunar side. So clearing the pipes, as it were, so that there's no blockages, so that this lunar information can come forth. I like to think of common blockages psychologically to lunar energy are things like pride, things like the ego, productivity, the idea that we have to be busy or that we have to prove ourselves, things like that can be sort of hindrances. Sometimes there's the very real hindrance of just physical anxiety or that physical trauma that rears its head that says, lunar energy isn't possible. Sometimes it's our proclivity, how we are as people, or the forces that we're in and around in our communities, our direct experiences. And try to let yourself use this as a practice to illuminate what needs a little more compassion or space. This is a breath in and out through the nose. If you'd like, you can manipulate by putting 2 fingers on your third eye, using your thumb to close and open one nostril, and your ring finger and your pinky finger to open the other. I'm not going to do that because working with the microphone doing that has become implausible, I've learned. But I am going to offer instead an alternative, a non-finger manipulated nasagra action, which is to hold your hands up and to open and close based on which nostril you're breathing in and out of. When we do this Nadi Shodhana form, it goes in and out, in and out. When we do Chandra Vedanta, we breathe in through the left nostril and out through the right nostril. We do that again and again, in through the right, or in through the left, out through the right. And we breathe in through our lunar side and out through our solar side. I'll guide us through the first few and then leave you to do them on your own. You might sit up a little taller or decide that now this is the work you want to do on your back instead. Close the eyes or look down at one spot on the earth in front of you. And to prepare and join one another, take a big free inhale in through your nose. And open mouth exhale, HA. Good again, inhale in through your nose. Like a lion, HA. In through your nose, Ujjayi Pranayama. Out through your nose, Ujjayi Pranayama. And if you're closing your nostrils, close your right nostril and inhale in through your left. You might close both to hold softly at full and exhale through your right nostril, slow like ujjayi, and hold it empty. Inhale in through the left, float, sustain, maintain it holding. Exhale through the right. Inhale through the left. Bahya Kumbhaka. Exhale through the right. And continuing, inhaling through the left, perhaps holding it full. You're welcome again to apply Mula and Uddiyana Bandha if those are kind practices for you, both at holding it full and at empty. Exhaling through the left. Most of breath control, most of our accessory breath muscles beyond the diaphragm, and things we don't have much control over, like the glottis, etc., are our exhaling muscles, the abdominals, some of our shoulder and chest muscles. So if you're working towards manipulating the breath, work with your exhales. But again, try not to force. You will create tension, and it'll be hard for your body to spring back open into the volume of the inhale to follow. Continue this practice of Chandra, Vedanta, Pranayama until I ask you to change or ask you to stop. Continue to seek relaxation, ease, and space, even inside of action. And notice when you drift or get distracted, or your pattern becomes repeatable and you start to go through the list of things, start to head to narrative or storytelling, etc., and so on. Notice those things as kindly as you can. Practice being kind to what emerges. And if you can kindly usher your awareness back to present tense, to paying attention to the sensations of your breath and your experience, do. And next time that you're exhaling through your right nostril, complete that exhale and allow yourself to return to conscious breathing, just to neutral organic breath for a few moments here. Notice how things are. Notice anything there is to be felt or observed. And for our last breathing exercise together, we're going to do an expelling breath or a destruction breath, but it's a lunar destruction breath, a shitali, or you might practice shitkari breathing depending on your proclivity. This is the hissing breath, so it's a lot like how it sounds. You exhale out of an S sound. You can do this through the S of your mouth, closing your teeth. You might also choose to do it with your lips curled if you have the genetic ability to curl your tongue like this. You can do it that way. That's classic. You can also just curl your lips like you're whistling. Imagine blowing out like the cutest birthday candles ever as you do it. The idea is to allow cooling to happen. You can also breathe in that fashion. I find that things get a little dry if I breathe in, and it's hard to breathe in on an S, but you could breathe in through closed teeth, etc., so on. If that's true for you, breathe in through your nose and do the exhale of the breath through your mouth only. We're going to do 13 of those to wind down towards rest. And I'm going to ask you to take on a little self agency and to count your breath. I'll be doing it too. I'll count down breath and I'll let you know when it's definitely time to wind down and rest if you haven't already. But try not to rely on that. Instead, count down. See if you can count down without rushing because you are not trying to get to the goal of one. It's usually most effective to count down on the exhale in the eye of your mind and to count down from 13 to 1. When you're done, you'll lie back and rest, whether it's before or after and I'm speaking. You could lie back by sitting in a chair. You might choose to sit in meditation for rest instead. Otherwise, you'll let yourself lie down and rest. I'll give you a little more instruction once we're there, but know that that is where we are headed. So for your hissing breath, I'll start us off once again, and then you can head into your own count. Take a moment to find your seat. You might adjust your seat or sit in a new and different way for this last moment of your breath work. It might be the same, slightly altered or shifted. Close your eyes or gaze down at a spot on the earth in front of you and exhale the air you have in your lungs. Ujjayi, inhale in through your nose. Open mouth, exhale, Iche. Inhale in through your nose. Lion's breath, Iche. Ujjayi pranayama. Breathe in through your nose, snoring. Ujjayi pranayama. Breathe out through your nose, sighing. Ujjayi in through your nose to prepare for Shitkali or Shitkari, the hissing breath. Shape the mouth and breathe out through it. And at the bottom, inhale in again through your nose. That was 1. Do 12 more, counting down from 12 to 1. Pay attention to how things are as you take this action. Pay attention to how you are. What can be soft and easy, spacious and free? What can you offload that is no longer for you? Continue to stay as relaxed as you can in the body. If you're not already in your bottom few breaths, in the next 2 or 3 rounds of breath, resolve your practice and let yourself return to organic breath, perhaps for a moment. Observe consciously how things are, how you feel, what you notice around you, temperatures and textures, etc., and so on. Lie back to rest when you're ready, if you haven't done so already. And if you're finding a resting position, please take your time. You're welcome to rest in any positioning that feels good for you. We'll rest for a few minutes and I'll call you up and out. In the beginning of rest here, I'm going to play the Tibetan singing bowl. The singing bowl resonates with the heart chakra. I'll put the microphone close to it, so hopefully there'll be some reverberation of it over and through you. If not, I'm sending you vibrations from afar, as it were. And then you'll rest for a few minutes after the sound of the singing bowl has rung to silence, and I'll call you up and out at the end. You can close your eyes or pick a spot to gaze at. Do any last fidgeting or wiggling you feel like you need to, so you feel like you're sure you've done what you could and you can rest in neutral. And give yourself that attitude once again of paying attention, of letting things be as they are, noticing how things are right now, and allowing your breath to become uncontrolled once again, to become organic and soft. Let your body be held by the ground. Let yourself truly turn towards rest in the space that comes from allowing things to be as opposed to having to create them or produce them constantly. Rest in this way until I call you up and out. Pay attention to how things really are. Very slowly, as if from a great distance, begin to return your awareness to your felt sense in the here and now. Go down and into your body and notice the organic rise and fall of your natural breath, perhaps the feeling of your heart beating and your blood pumping in your veins. When you discern a path back to action, begin here with your breath. Ask it to become on purpose a little bit again. Breathe a little longer and slower, a little fuller and deeper. And little by slowly You can ride your breath intuitively as you wish into any kind action in the body. You might wiggle your fingers and toes, or scrunch and spread your face, or run your tongue over the surfaces of your mouth. You can move in any way that is organic for you. And slowly, for the next 3 or 4 rounds of breath, use an exhale to gather your knees to your chest if you're on your back or with your legs up a wall, etc. And roll onto your left hand side, your lunar side, and take a moment to acknowledge process by acknowledging the contributing factors to your own unique process with gratitude and kindness. The ancestors that came before, the earth that nourishes you, the teachers that have come before, right? The obstacles and boundaries, the gifts, the collaborators and communities, the difficulties. Your own willingness to show up and process and practice, to turn towards what is in the here and now, to use that sensitivity, that awareness to ride through the waves of this samsara, of this experience in this lifetime. And when you're ready, use your top hand to press yourself up towards the seat. And I'll offer that we might finish with a little bit of chanting. So if chanting's not for you, feel free to peace out or mute it out. And you're also welcome to listen if you don't want to sing along or if you're not in an environment where it might not be for you. This is the Sahana Navatu, and it's about togetherness with teacher, sometimes togetherness with deity, depending on who you talk to. It overarching meaning, before I ask you to chant it, this is what it means, is may we together be protected, may we together know joy, may our work together for the betterment of all be brilliant, may we not fight or dispute or have hate with one another, and may this work draw us towards universal and enduring unity and peace. We'll chant a sort of call and response. If you want to chant just the Om at the beginning and the Om Shanti 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 at the end, feel free to join in for that too. Otherwise, I will call and you'll respond. So I'll do it twice, as it were, and the idea is you join the second time. All right. Exhale the air you have in your body. And you're just listening this first time, but I'm cueing you in just as the idea forms and filters. Take a big free inhale in through your nose and open mouth exhale, HA. Inhale to prepare to chant. Om Sahana Vavatu. Sahana Vavatu. Sahano Bunaktu. Sahano Bunaktu. Sahaviryam. Sahaviryam. Karavavahai. Karavavahai. Tejas dinavadi tamastu. Tejas dinavadi tamastu. Mavit vashavahai. Mavit vashavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. If you'd like, you can bring your hands into prayer position at heart center, Anjali Mudra, acknowledging the meeting point between the lunar and solar, between the yin and the yang, the beginning and the end, the one and the many. We find that on the spectrum of everything, the compassion, the cave of the heart leads us to the understanding of oneness as opposed to separateness. And that's what the symbol means. Thank you for your time, your energy, your effort. If you wish, you can bring your thumbs to the third eye, acknowledging that the workings of the mind must find communication and reverence for that of the heart and the feeling, the energy of the body. If you wish, you can bow to yourself, seal in your practice. Thank you for joining me for pranayama.